As of March 24th, Tigers shortstop Báez is 5 for 44 with a 264 OPS in spring training through 47 plate appearances. He sucks by literally every metric there is to quantify baseball players. But it wasn't so long ago that he was one of MLB's most exciting players. It wasn't so long ago when he was in the All-Star game, and it also wasn't so long ago that he was getting MVP votes. But in recent years, he's fallen off a cliff. How did this happen? Before I get into the video, I would really appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe, as it helps out my channel a ton. Thank you. And now on with the video. Just ahead of the 2021 MLB lockout, Báez agreed to a 6-year, $140 million contract with the supposedly up-and-coming Detroit Tigers. He was one of many premier free agent shortstops of the 2021 class. It only helped his case when he played well for the Mets down the stretch of that previous season. So, compared to the contracts his peers at shortstop were getting, roughly $23 million per season seemed like a good bargain for the Tigers. Teams on average pay about $8 million per win above replacement, and in his case, you could count on Báez to put up about 3 to 5 wins above replacement per season. The Tigers' 2021 season saw them win 77 or more games for the first time since 2016, 5 years ago to that point. Things were looking up, with top prospects like Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson coming to the majors very, very soon. The signing of Báez all but signified that the Tigers thought themselves as ready to compete again after a very long and torturous rebuild where they won just 37% of their games. But things would go downhill in 2022, as their once promising future seems all but forgotten, and a majority of that blame actually fell on Javy Báez. Here's what I mean. His strong offense from 2021 with the Cubs and then the Mets didn't translate at all to the Tigers. His offensive numbers fell way down. His defense was still great at shortstop admittedly, but it was very obvious that he had become less valuable at the plate. Statcast metrics such as hard hit percentage, average exit velo, and barrel percentage all were career lows or close to it. His contact numbers stayed more or less the same, which essentially means that his quality of contact is what's made him so bad offensively. So 2022 wasn't Javy's best year. When he played poorly in the COVID-shortened 2020 season, he immediately bounced back in 2021 and had a great season. So heading into 2023, the consensus take was that he'd rebound and find success at the plate for the first time in a Tigers uniform. That did not happen. He went on to have the worst full season of his career at the plate. I'll now take you through his entire 2023 season to see what went wrong and why or when it may have happened. On opening day against the Rays, Báez singled in his first at-bat of the season, one of his 82 singles in that season. Good start, right? Through the first 8 games of the season, Javy was hitting .069. He was 2 for his first 29 at-bats and also struck out 7 times. That was one of the most dreadful streaks to begin a season that I've ever seen in my life. High strikeout rates have always been a factor during his career, but I think they've been even more amplified now that he doesn't do anything well on offense anymore. On May 5th, Báez brought his OPS all the way up to a respectable 716 mark. A couple days later, it fell back below 700 and would never go back above that mark again for the rest of the entire season. His swing had completely deteriorated, and he was generating about as much power as David Fletcher. You don't want to hit like David Fletcher in any way, and especially don't want to have power like he does. Báez's 104 isolated power is by far the lowest of his career for a full season. ISO is a metric that determines how much power a player hits for by taking their slugging percentage and subtracting their batting average from that number. The major league average in 2023 was 140. His best game of the season was probably July 6th against the A's of all teams. Báez went 3 for 5 with a double, a walk, and 2 runs scored. That walk was one of his measly 24 on the season, which was his lowest in a full season since 2016. He had always been a guy who could make good contact often, and now he makes terrible contact less often. That game was also one of 2 times all season where he had 3 hits in a game, where most players can have about 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 games of that in a season. In the month of September, he hit 1 home run, a 416-foot blast off of the Angels starting pitcher Griffin Canning. At least his strikeout total of 14 during the month wasn't actually that bad. During the entire season, Báez wasn't even able to accumulate 1 win above replacement, or WAR, meaning that he's actually worse than the average player and is getting paid well over $20 million a season to do that. Javier Báez is going into year 3 of a contract with the Tigers and has been worth less than 3 wins above replacement for them so far in 2 seasons. His spring training stats look terrible, and people are starting to lose hope that he can return to MVP form this late into his career. Him being 31 years old now makes that prospect even more challenging. There's no question about his ability with the glove still being there, but if he even wants to stay in Major League Baseball for the next few seasons, he absolutely has to turn it around now. Thanks for watching.